One of the more debated but rarely explained topics in the BDSM community, consensual non-consent, or CNC, is based almost entirely in communication. Without it, the play scene will fall apart and boundaries will be crossed. To avoid this, a mutual agreement is arranged where the sub will forego all consent and submit entirely to their dom's control, albeit in a begrudging manner, and at their whim. Long story short, anytime, anywhere, it's a surprise. This does not occur without negotiation, and the sub understands that they are submitting entirely to someone else's will, against their own judgment and self-preservation. This is what emphasizes the non-consent portion of CNC. In summary, CNC is enjoying the unenjoyable, normalizing the taboo. When you like it, but you're not supposed to, but that's secretly why you do.
I don't or no are never words you should use in CNC. The best course of action is to set up a safe word. Trust is a key component in consent and non-consent. So when you have an established safe word, it builds that trust between you and who you are in scene with. You should always, as a dom, remind your sub you have a safe word during an intense scene. This is also how you make sure you're practicing CNC appropriately and keeping everyone's boundaries in place. Boundaries and trust go both ways. A sub needs to trust their dom, and a dom needs to be able to trust their sub. And know, through negotiations, that just because the sub may be screaming out for everything to stop, that dom still has full consent, and that sub is still completely willing. Safe words may be taken out of the play scene in such things as 24/7 relationships, where you can choose to remove the safe word in certain situations, like during punishment. You may also choose to not use a safe word at all during CNC. An example of would be in a total power exchange relationship, or TFP.
TPE, 24/7. CNC requires trust and communication, which are two of the biggest components when practicing CNC. CNC can be done in an LTR, committed partners, or FWB, so long as there's an immense level of trust, someone you have a firm and healthy sexual history with. You should feel like you're able to speak to this person about anything and feel safe in doing so. Your communication level needs to be on steroids. As a dom, you will want to receive consent on every tiny little remote detail before practicing CNC or stepping foot into a play scene involving CNC. Some major things to set in place are things like a safe word and/or signal to stop all activity. Set up your boundaries. Will you use restraints, impact play, and what's allowed and what's not, and where on the body? If there are things you are unsure of, ask. This is the time to communicate, so just ask. Never try and guess. Make sure to start slow. Test the waters with a short session with maybe only one overpowering act, then slowly work your way to a full CNC scene. And last but not least, always remember your element of play. This is, after all, a form of role-playing, and although very serious, communication goes into the negotiation phase, the actual play scene during a CNC session should be fun for all.
All sub-drop and aftercare would typically look different than a regular scene with no consensual non-consent involved. So after a scene, a sub may behave differently. So if your sub normally likes to cuddle after a scene, that sub may not want to be touched. An attentive dom should know this and give their sub some space. Or it could be the other way around, in which case that dom would then need to be open to giving that affection afterwards. It's not uncommon for a sub to get upset or angry, almost as if they were abused after a CNC play scene. But during sub drop, the sub should start to feel safe and in control again. And this is where it is vital for the Dom to respect this space and not get offended, and also to continue to provide aftercare.
This has been a public SafeWord announcement.